Hello everybody, this is Piteio from Veil of the Ages, and in this video we're going to continue our battle between the Empire and the Sylvan Elves. We start with the second turn from the Empire of Sonnstahl. First phase is the charge phase. I have 2 units here, and I probably want to put the Nightly Orders into the flank of the Dryads down here. So I check the distance between the two, and I see that the distance is 3, 6, 9 and 10. Alright, they are within 10 inches. So the movement of the advance value of the Nightly Orders is 7. The distance is 10, so I need to roll at least a 3 to complete the charge. The Dryads don't have a choice in terms of holding, fleeing, because they're already in combat, so they just have to hold. Let's see if I don't get a 2. Boof, a 10. Alright, so my knights are ready to charge. I will select them, and if I advance in a straight line, I'm gonna miss my Dryads, right? So I'm gonna have to make a wheeling movement. Let's say I do a wheel movement in this direction by 2 inches. Now, if I do this, it means that this is where I will land, and this means that I will only have this guy and this guy in contact with the Dryad. So I need to wheel a bit more. Maybe let's do a 0.5. And now, if I go here, then probably I'm gonna put, exactly, I'm gonna put 3 of my knights in combat. So at this point I can crank up the distance value, I can move forward. Alright, got here, maybe a bit too much. Let's go back by 0.5. Okay. This seems like a good position to me. I can fix things a bit manually. Oops. Here we go. Yep. So this is a good positioning. So I have the maximum number of models in contact with the enemy. 3 for me and 1 for the opponent. Alright. So this is the charge phase. Let's move to the movement phase. In the movement phase, I can still move this unit, which is not engaged in combat. And these guys would like to shoot at the archers that are hiding in the field. However, as you can see, now I'm 24 inches away, and that's a problem. It's a problem because my handgunners, my light infantry, has a handgun, and which has range 24. So I need to move in order to get in range. And then I will also get another penalty, and which gives me a penalty, and then I will get yet another penalty because my opponent is in the field. So I normally hit with a 4+, which becomes a 5+ if I move, which becomes a 6+, given that my opponent is in the field. Okay. So let's do that, though. I mean, it's 3 guys shooting. Maybe I get a 6. Maybe I get lucky. So I also want to make sure that my enemies are within line of sight. So for example, this guy can see the opponent easily. This guy can see the opponent easily. But this guy here has the knights in the way. So this means that I will take these guys over here. I will make a wheeling movement to the other direction by 1 inch. Then I will advance by 2 inches, 1 and 2, and then I will wheel again in the other direction. Maybe, you know what, I won't wheel after all, I'll just go forward. So 1 inch of wheel towards the right, and then 3 inches forward. And now this means that everybody from my units can see the entirety of the enemy units. See? Now, even for this guy here, the knights are not creating a problem anymore, so I won't get the extra penalty for that. Alright? So I would say that at this point my movement phase has ended. I can go to the magic phase. I will shuffle the deck. Oops, what have I done? Ah, I had this guy selected here. Sorry. Yep, I will shuffle the deck for my flux card with R. I take one card, I flip it, and I see that I'm gonna have 8 magic dice and 5 for the reactive player. This is a lot of magic, and it's a bit of a problem because I can't cast Corruption of Tin. It doesn't make any sense because no enemy has armor at all. So I can only cast Scorching Salvo, and I can only use maximum 5 dice to cast each spell. So I wouldn't use these 3 dice, and my opponent will have 5 dice to the spell. So it's quite dicey, and I don't know, it's a bit weird. Shall I do that? If I roll 5 dice for the spell, it doesn't make sense that I roll less than 5, because my opponent can use all 5 to the spell. So either I go all in, or I don't do it. I might get 3 same results on the dice here, and get an incident of casting incident for my wizard, and my wizard has already gotten 2 wounds. So I think that the safest course of action here is to not cast any spell in the magic phase. Sometimes it might be the good thing to do, not to cast spells, so that you don't risk unnecessary damage. I don't do anything in the magic phase. Let's then go to the next phase, which is the shooting phase, and then at this point you will see that my enemy is within 24 inches for every one of my light infantrymen, as we said before. So I can now shoot with them. Normally, as we said, I would hit with 4, but +1 because I moved, +1 because the enemy is in cover. This means I will only hit with a 6. I have 3 guys shooting, so I'm going to roll 3 dice. And I don't make any 6, so uneventful shooting phase. Now let's go on to the next phase, which is the combat phase, the last phase for this turn, and let's have some fun with this combat here. So as you can see, we have 4 Dryads, 1 of which is in contact with the Knightly Orders, and 3 of which are in contact with the heavy infantry. I will not assign other attacks on this Marshal or the Wizard, just to keep things simple. I could put this Dryad on these guys, this Dryad on the Wizard, these 2 Dryads over here. I'm just going to put these 3 over here, as we've done before, and this Dryad here on the Knights to see how they perform in combat. But as you know, the first question to ask is who goes first, and that's determined on the agility value. So Dryads have an agility value of 5, and in the Empire, you see that the Knightly Orders have agility 3, the Heavy Infantry has agility 3, the Wizard has agility 3, and the Marshal has agility 5. So Dryads and Marshal go at the same time, and then everybody else from the Empire attacks. So let's go with the Marshal first. It's 3 attacks, offense 4. You might remember that the Dryads have defense 4. So with my offense, of 5, it means that I'm going to hit on a 3+. 3 attacks, hitting on a 3+ for the Empire, for the Marshal. Woo! All 3. Nice. Then I need to wound. I have strength 4 on the Marshal, and the Dryads have resilience 4, so I need to roll this 3 dice again and get a 4+ to wound. And I make 2. Okay, fun. I make 2, and now the Dryads get a chance to save themselves with an Aegis save of 5+. Every 5+ that I roll for these 2 wounds, it's a saved wound. This Marshal is not doing an amazing job at killing Dryads. Both of them saved it. Alright, so nothing for them. Now the Dryads strike back. Let's put 3 Dryads, as we said, on Dryad 1, 2, and 3 on the general units of heavy infantry. Okay? So each of these Dryads has 2 attacks, which means they're going to roll 6 dice altogether. They have an offensive skill of 4, whereas our heavy infantry has a defense of 3, so that means that the 6 attacks are gonna hit with a 3+. Alright man, these Dryads are on fire. 6 hits, they have strength 4, and the heavy infantry has resilience 3, so the 6 hits will wound on a 3+ again. Okay. And as we see here, ignore this, don't care about that, I just pressed key by mistake. It means that 1, 2, and 3, and 4 hits are converted into wounds. And let me delete these things, I don't know what happened. And now maybe the heavy infantry gets a chance to save these rolls with armor, because they have armor 1, but Dryads have armor penetration 1, so these 4 wounds cannot be saved by armor. This means that 4 of these guys die. Again, same amount of kills that we did before with the Dryads. It's a lot. Now, the Dryad that hasn't attacked this troop can now try and attack the Knightly Orders. Let's see how this new fight goes. So again, we have 2 attacks, offense 4, strength 4, armor penetration 1. The difference is that the Knightly Orders have defense 4. So now the Dryad, instead of hitting on a 3, hits on a 4. And alright, 2-5. These Dryads are monsters in this turn. So 2 hits, strength 4 versus resilience 3. It means that they wound on a 3+. And I make both again. Alright. Now the point is that the Knightly Orders have an armor of 6, which is huge. 6 is a lot, but as you can see, these knights are very heavily armored. These are the drawings by RH Worldbuilding. You can really see the plate armor and the horse offering more protection. Now it is true, as we said before, that the Dryad has an armor penetration of 1, so this 1 becomes a 5. But armor 5 still means that you get to save them with a 2+. Only if I roll 1s, these are going to be true wounds. And I roll 2 2s, so by the skin of my teeth, I managed to save these blows. Nice. Now, apart from the Marshal, it's now the time for the Empire to attack. So let's do the Wizard first. The Wizard has 1 attack with offense 3, so it hits on a 4+, and it does hit on a 4+. Strength 3, resilience 4, it wounds on a 5+. Tough one. And yeah, doesn't make it. Let's now attack with the infantry here. So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Each of these heavy infantry soldiers has 1 attack at offense 3, so it's 6 attacks hitting on a 4+. And I fail 2. Alright, nope, nope. Now I have strength 4, and my opponent, the Dryads, have resilience 4, so these 4 attacks are gonna wound on 4+. And I make 3, alright, yeah. I do have armor penetration, but as we said before, we don't care about that, because the Dryads simply save themselves with an Aegis save of 5+, which ignores all of the modifiers for armor, coming from armor penetration or from spells. So I'm gonna roll 3 dice, and every 5+, it's a save to wound for the Dryads. Monsters! These are monsters, they save 2 again. So only 1 dies. This is an amazing combat. It's like 4 Dryads versus 10 heavy infantry, 1 wizard and 1 marshal, and the Dryads caused 4 wounds and they only got 1 in return. Amazing, amazing performance. We still have the Knightly Orders, they have to attack from the flank, so that might make a difference. And they might indeed do it, because they only have 1 attack each, but they have offense 4, strength 6, 4 basic plus 2 strength because they charged, and they have devastating charge, so they get this extra bonus just like the Wild Huntsman. Armor penetration, we don't care about that, because we still have the 5+ Aegis save. So 3 attacks hitting on a 4+. I make 2. Now I have strength 6 versus resilience 4. So now I'm going to wound on a 2+. Remember that the wizard, for example, was only wounding on a 5+, and now these guys are wounding on a 2+. Heavy cavalry, babe. Let's see how many I make. A 1 and a 2, really? So this one doesn't wound. This is the only one that has wounded. And this now means that I get to make an Aegis save of 5+ with the Dryad to try and save this wound. Saved it. Unbelievable. I thought this was going to be much more carnage, but in reality, the Dryads are performing amazingly well. Let's see. We have, for the Sylvan Elves, 4 points because of the 4 wounds. And on the side of the Empire, we have 1 point for this wound, 1 point for this rank, and 2 points for the flank, and 1 point because they just charged. So the Empire still wins. Despite having lost 4-1, they managed to bring 1 rank, 2 flank, 1 charge, and so in the end they win by 1. This means that the Dryads have to make a discipline test. With that discipline, which is 8 minus 1 because they lost by 1. So let's see if, if our Sylvan Elves, Dryads, manage to roll 7 or less, otherwise the Dryads are fleeing. Yeah, they've been rolling crazy high for hitting, wounding, and for Aegis saves so far, so they also rolled high on the discipline check. Now this means that they're fleeing, and that means that I get a chance to pursue them. And I'm gonna take the chance, because if I reach the enemy, then it means that they will be destroyed. So the Dryads are gonna flee in this direction, away from my heavy infantry, and they're gonna flee by 2d6. The sum of 2 regular dice. And my heavy infantry and my knightly orders are going to try and pursue and see whether they can roll as high as the Dryads do. So the Dryads flee by 4. It's a very low roll. They rolled perfectly until these last 2 final rolls. So 4 is really not that much, babe. Sorry to say that. So this is 4. That means that exactly the Dryad ends up here. So let's see if my heavy infantry manages to roll at least a 4. And they roll a 7, which means that they are just simply steamrolling these units, catching it, and destroying it. So let me take these guys and move them forward by 7. Here we go. And then, with the knightly orders, I'm also going to pursue, even if the unit is already destroyed. And here I roll a 2. And see, it was good that I did it with both. So now, since they were fleeing in that direction, what I'm going to do is going to take this unit, rotate it on the spot, and then advance it by 2 inches. 2 here. This is probably going to get messy because it means that they're going to overlap with the other units. So maybe it can be a bit tricky. Let me do 1 first, and then another 1. All right. These guys are dead. We don't need them anymore. And this is the situation now. It looks horrible for the Sylvan Elves because there's still a unit of heavy infantry with the 2 characters. It's quite depleted, but you know, these guys here are fully strong. This unit is still counting and playing that role, so you know, it's a bit tough. Maybe we can cast some spells and kill a few more, force a panic check, make them run. They run through, they flee through the friendly unit, and maybe the friendly unit flees as well. I don't know, we can still get lucky, but truth be told, this last turn was quite brutal for the elves. Look at how many Imperial units we have in here. So, you know, I don't think that the archers can get in there, while these guys can also get in there. So, you know, things are looking pretty grim for the Sylvan elves. We'll see what happens in the turn next. For now, all we say, end of the Imperial turn. See you in the next video. Bye.